Hello. Welcome back to Quick Re-Upload. Spoiler head, enjoy and relax. Movie begins with Rocky, Alex, and Money, three Detroit buddies, break into the mansion of wealthy owners. They start grabbing the nicest looking goods they can get their hands on when Alex disables the security system. They finish by throwing a rock through the plate glass door and fleeing. Rocky shares a home with her younger sister Diddy, their controlling mother Ginger, and her lover Trevor. Rocky promises Diddy that she will get them both out of there and into a new life in California. Alex lives with his father, a police officer who is never at home, and works extra shifts at the local police station. Alex searches for wealthy people to loot using his father's computer connections. Money receives information from one of his contacts about a man who lives in a home with more than $300,000 in cash stowed away. According to reports, the father is a military veteran who lives alone after his daughter died in a vehicle accident. Rocky is on board because this may be the last robbery they ever have to commit, but Alex is against the scheme. When Rocky begs him, he relents since he has a crush on her, despite the fact that she is with Money. The three approach the man's, Stephen Lang, house, which is in a slum area, and is the only occupied house on the street because every other house has been condemned, and discover that he is blind. Alex feels it's wrong to rob a blind man, but Money counters that just because he's blind doesn't make him a saint. After then, the man's nasty Rottweiler dog jumps on the car door and scares the friends. The robbery is started that night by the three. Alex notices a new tattoo on Rocky's wrist, which depicts a ladybug. She reveals that her father abandoned her family when she was a child, and her mother blamed Rocky for it. She'd cry and then lock herself in the trunk. A ladybug flew into the trunk one time and kept her company. She claims she'll color it in California and never mark her body again. The buddies proceed to the man's residence. Money is used to drug the dog, causing him to pass out and allowing them to enter the house safely. Rocky enters first, disabling the security system through a small bathroom window. Money insults Alex for his crush on Rocky, while her pals wait for her. She comes back and unlocks the back door. Money climbs the stairs and discovers the blind man dozing in front of the TV. When the blind man stands up, he hears a noise. He simply turns off the television and goes back to sleep. Money fills the room with gas to ensure the man doesn't hear anything. The three discover a basement door that is locked. They believe they'll uncover the man's hoard here. Money begins to slam the door shut, forcing the blind man to descend. Money begins to speak and declares that he does not want trouble until he decides to draw a revolver on the man. Money holds the gun in the face of the blind man, who takes a few steps forward. As he approaches, the man snatches Money's revolver from his grip and pins him against the wall. Money is asked by the blind man how many of them are in the house. Money claims that it's only him and begs the man to let him go. The blind man lets go of his grip, but Money is shot in the neck and skull. Rocky hides in the closet after he drops Money's body on the floor. The man walks in and opens a safe that holds his money. As he walks away, Rocky notices the code, 2978. After the blind man begins shutting all of the doors and windows, Alex sets out to find Rocky. They decide to enter into the basement and exit through the cellar entrance that goes to the outside. Rocky first opens the safe and places all of the cash in her bag. They make their way down to the basement, but the man appears. As he grips Money's gun, the two remain silent. When someone's phone rings, he shoots a fast shot. As the man pulls Money's body outside, Rocky and Alex descend the stairs. Rocky is startled in the basement by a woman who has been shackled to the wall. Rocky and Alex are terrified of her and are about to abandon her until she holds up a newspaper article. Cindy's name is revealed, and she is the woman who killed the blind man's daughter by mistake, although she was acquitted. She is freed by Rocky and Alex, who bring her to the cellar door. Unfortunately, when they open it, the blind man is present. He pulls the trigger on the gun and shoots Cindy in the face, killing her. Rocky and Alex flee, and the man discovers that he is the one who shot Cindy. He sobs over her body and screams angrily. Alex takes the man's keys and decides to try to return to the front door. The blind man turns off the lights in the basement as he and Rocky return upstairs, leaving them all in complete darkness. As the man fires the rifle, Rocky and Alex scan the area for each other. Rocky was on the verge of touching the blind man when Alex called her name. The blind man apprehends Alex and attempts to shoot him, but his weapon is empty. Alex traps him by pushing a shelf down on him. Rocky and he dash upstairs. Alex uses a crowbar to seal the door. When he and Rocky try to unlock the door, they discover that the dog has awoken and is ready to attack. They flee the dog and confine it to a room. Unfortunately, the blind man has emerged from the cellar and is pursuing Alex. He appears to impale him with garden shears after punching him in the face many times. He then tracks out Rocky and knocks her unconscious as well. Rocky is shackled in the same position as Cindy as he wakes up in the basement. She informs the blind man that this will not return his daughter. That, he claims, is not totally correct. He impregnated Cindy to make up for the child she murdered, and he planned to let her free once she gave birth. His unborn child has also died as a result of Cindy's death, and he feels Rocky responsible. He rips a hole in Rocky's pants and pulls out a baster full with his sperm sample. He gets ready to impregnate Rocky, but Alex has risen and grabbed a hammer. He frees Rocky by whacking the blind man in the head. They bind the man to a pole with handcuffs. She kicks the man in the shins before stuffing the baster down his throat. They leave him alone and decide not to call the cops because the man might easily inform them that Rocky and Alex broke into his house. The two return upstairs to depart. They open the front door, but the blind man has risen and shoots Alex to death. Rocky bolts just as the man opens the door to let the dog out. Rocky dashes back to Money's car, attempting to enter before the dog catches up with her, but she drops her bag outside the vehicle. Rocky opens the trunk in the hopes of trapping the dog inside and preventing her from escaping. Her scheme works, and she goes outside to fetch the money, but Rocky is knocked down again by the blind man. Rocky is dragged back to the blind man's residence to do his work. Rocky gets a boost of confidence and hope as a ladybug lands on her hand. Rocky takes the joystick and activates the security system, causing the man to become distracted. She takes the crowbar and repeatedly whacks the blind man in the head until he falls into the cellar and his gun goes off, shooting him in the side. Before the cops arrive, Rocky takes the money and flees the house. Rocky has arrived at the Detroit airport with Diddy, prepared to begin their new lives. Rocky then sees on TV that the blind man has been found alive and that just 2 burglars have been reported breaking into his home, both of whom he has murdered. Rocky grows nervous and walks away with Diddy, never looking back.